Alright guys, Paul back here again with a brand new video, and in this one we're going to be doing a quick opinion piece on the newly released, redesigned, reworked, whatever you want to call it, AEW TNT Championship belt. Now, as most of us have probably seen, last night on Dynamite, Cody Rhodes unveiled the new TNT Championship. This is the same design, just recolored, updated, a few changes, and we're just going to talk about that. So the previous AEW TNT title, as most of us know, during the pandemic, it was unable to be completed. Certain industries were closed, there was delays, and one thing that affected this was the plating work. So the nickel and gold plating was unable to be completed, and we were left with the original belt, which was just bare zinc. So bare zinc, it tarnishes over time, so it does look cloudy. It doesn't have much of a reflective shine to it now. So as you can obviously see, the new title being completely plated in nickel and gold, it looks much better. The shine off of the plates is much improved, and it just looks like a more completed belt. Now, a lot of the changes are just color swaps, which is what we probably should have expected. I've seen a few people getting upset that it's just the same design. I think that was probably made clear early on that it was just going to be the same design with a repaint and a recoloring. And I must say, I'm a huge fan. I think it's a massive improvement. Now, we'll talk about a few of the changes. The most obvious is obviously the addition of the gold plating. Now, this is not only in a few of the accents and border pieces, but the TNT logo itself on the center plate is now a stacked piece. Now, what that means is it's an additional plate attached onto the base plate. This stacked piece itself is actually a really nice textured piece. As you can obviously tell, it looks a little bit like glitter, and I've seen people mentioning that they thought AEW just put glitter on their belt. That's not actually the case, but you can be forgiven for thinking. It is in fact just a texture in the metal, so either the metal was etched with a design in it, or it was just a hand-drilled texture into the plate. What it means is the multiple lights in an arena will hit the belt at different angles, and the different shapes and carvings in the TNT logo will sparkle that light back in all different directions, and it kind of creates this glitter effect. Other belts that had this, probably most famously, was the 2011-ish WWE Big Gold held by Randy Orton and Christian. That had a really nice hand texturing done to it, and this is a similar idea. Now, the texturing does continue to the base of the main plate. As you can see around the TNT circle, there is actually a bit of a nickel texture in the background. I do like that. It's a lot better than just the flat plate was originally, and it really catches the light very nicely, just like the center plate, in all honesty. This texture does continue on the outer side plates with the TNT logo. It's again a nickel texture top and bottom of the logo, and I do prefer this a lot, especially compared to the previous one, which was just all painted in black. I think the texture, the lack of paint certainly is a positive for me. I'm never a huge fan of overly painted belts, and the fact that this new one has less paint on the outer side, on both side plates for that matter, it's a big improvement. I much prefer less paint, just highlight the logo and the building on the inner side plate, and I think that's more than enough. Other than that, I've seen a few people upset that the TNT logo and the circle part of the logo is left blank, and it's just a big reflective circular piece. Unfortunately, that is really not up to AEW. As far as I'm aware, the TNT logo itself is the letters TNT as well as the circle, so I believe the circle is part of their logo, so I don't think there was really much option there in what to change or improve or add anything, so I don't really see it as an issue. If that's the official logo, that's the official logo, so there's not really much complaints there. The gold highlights, I'm a huge fan, as mentioned, of those. I've never been the biggest fan of red and gold on belts together, but I've got to be honest, on this one it actually works for me. There's not much red paint, it's pretty much just the champion banner, but obviously we've got the red strap, which does clash a little bit with the gold plating, but not enough in my opinion that it takes away from this belt. Another slight change I've noticed on this belt is the leatherwork. On the front of the belt, you can see the newer belt, the gold and nickel belt, actually has a little bit of a different tooling designed around the plate. So the new one has the traditional camouflage style tooling, while the previous one used a more Jamar style seashell design. A very minor change, but I thought I'd point it out. And in addition to that, the backing of the belt, it has went from a black leather to what appears to be a black crocodile style backing. So a nice improvement, not anything that was necessary or a huge deal, but it's cool to see that they're making little changes to it to kind of give it a bit of a unique vibe. Now, the painted in AEW logos on the outer side plates, the logo plate and the center plate, they definitely look a lot more impressive now. When it was just the Bears Inc., they didn't really stand out much, and it kind of just looked it definitely looked unfinished, but I must say now that it is being completed, now that we see the highlighted gold pieces, now that we see the stacked TNT logo, this is a huge improvement for me, in my opinion. There's still going to be people out there that don't like this belt, and that's absolutely fine. It's personally not my favorite belt ever. I'm a bigger fan of the AEW heavyweight belt, in all honesty, but that being said, I think this is a huge improvement on the previous belt. The unfinished design, it was obviously not AEW's fault. It was not the belt maker's fault that it couldn't be finished during the pandemic. But now that it has been completed and we can see the final design, I'm a lot more impressed than I was initially. I think they've made some really smart changes. I think it's a nice looking belt. Again, I prefer the heavyweight belt, but this is a mid-card belt, so it really shouldn't be as impressive as the heavyweight belt, in all honesty. But that's pretty much my initial opinion of the belt. Please let me know what your opinions of this are. Do you like the belt? Do you dislike it? Is it an improvement over the original Bears Inc. belt? Or did you actually like the look of the all-silver design? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you have any other thoughts about this belt, please leave them down there. I'm very curious to see the opinions of this belt. So yeah, let me know. Thank you. Cheers.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP. And if you want to get one of the greatest belts made for you, go to Paulmartinbelts. That's right, sucker.